When I was a kid, I often heard all sorts of wild ideas about how to stay fit. Everything from the notion that doing hundreds of crunches every day would magically melt belly fat, to the claim that you should avoid carbs like the plague if you ever want to see those abs pop. And you know what? Many of those ideas stuck with me for a long time, so I can totally relate if you've been feeling confused about what's true and what's not. Today, I want to tackle some of the biggest misconceptions that have been floating around for ages. Myths that might be standing between you and the results you're working so hard to achieve. You've probably heard at least one of these before, and maybe you've even wondered, is that really how it works? Trust me, this is going to be really interesting because so many of these so-called truths are actually based on outdated science or simple misunderstandings. So if you're ready to discover which fitness myths you've been fed your whole life, keep watching because we're about to clear the air once and for all. By the way, there's a jaw-dropping twist coming up that I guarantee will change the way you look at certain healthy foods forever. Stick around because you do not want to miss it. Before we dive into everything, I quickly want to say, if you enjoy this kind of myth-busting content, definitely check out more videos here on the channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Absolutely love sharing insights like these, and subscribing is the easiest way to stay in the loop whenever I post new stuff. So go ahead and tap that subscribe button if you're intrigued by what's to come. Now, let's get into these fitness lies that have been passed around for years. First, let's address the idea that crunches are the ultimate cure-all if you want to lose belly fat. You've probably heard or even tried this approach at some point. Do 100 crunches a day and poof, your midsection shrinks overnight. Unfortunately, that's not exactly how it works. Crunches do strengthen your abdominal muscles and can help shape your core, which I really like. Nothing beats that feeling of a strong center. But here's the kicker. If there's a layer of fat over those muscles, you won't see the definition you're building underneath until you reduce overall body fat through balanced nutrition and a variety of workouts. Spot reduction, meaning burning fat in just one area, is a tricky business because the body doesn't pick and choose like that. Fat loss tends to happen more systematically, so the myth that crunches alone will give you a rock-hard core without addressing your diet or other forms of exercise is, well, a total myth. I remember doing countless crunches when I was younger, absolutely convinced I'd get that six-pack. Let's just say I learned that lesson the hard way. Now, moving on to a second myth that a lot of people cling to. If you sweat more, you're automatically burning more fat. Let me guess, you've seen those folks wearing sauna suits or layered clothing to the gym, hoping to increase sweat production in the name of shedding pounds. While you might lose some water weight during a super sweaty workout, it doesn't necessarily mean you're burning more fat. Sweat is simply your body's way of regulating temperature. When you overheat, you sweat more, and you might feel like you're detoxifying like crazy, but it's not the same as effectively burning extra fat. Sure, you can weigh in after a heavy sweat session and see the scale go down a bit, but that weight loss is typically water, and it'll come right back as soon as you hydrate properly. Don't get me wrong, a good sweat can feel amazing. Sometimes, I absolutely love coming out of a workout drenched because it makes me feel like I put in the work. But that's more a measure of intensity or climate conditions than a direct reflection of fat-burning success. By the way, I want to pause here and talk about something you might find surprising. Garlic. Yes, garlic. When people focus on fitness and a healthy lifestyle, we often concentrate on workouts and macronutrients. But the foods we use to flavor our meals can be just as important. Garlic has been celebrated for centuries as this magical, medicinal ingredient that can do just about everything, from boosting immune function to warding off vampires. Just kidding, guys, but I really like referencing that old legend. The cool thing is that garlic actually has scientific backing for a lot of its health benefits, especially when it's eaten raw or lightly cooked. You've probably heard claims that garlic alone will cure all your ailments and melt away body fat. Now, it's not some magic bullet that'll single-handedly transform your physique. If only it were that simple. However, garlic does contain beneficial compounds like allicin, which can help support a healthy immune system and has anti-inflammatory properties. Some studies even suggest it can assist in cardiovascular health, which is definitely relevant for anyone looking to optimize their exercise routine. So while garlic isn't going to replace a well-rounded diet and a solid workout plan, it's a great example of how certain whole foods can play a supportive role in your overall fitness journey. I absolutely love cooking with it, although I'd recommend gum or a mint afterwards, if you know what I mean. The point is, be mindful that while garlic can be awesome, it's not an instant fix. Combine it with balanced nutrition and exercise, and you might see some subtle benefits that support your goals. So let's consider another big myth. Carbs are the enemy. Maybe you've heard that you should cut out all bread, rice, and pasta for fear of gaining weight, but trust me, that approach can be too extreme. Your body needs carbohydrates, especially if you're active, because they are a primary energy source for your muscles and brain. Of course, it makes sense to choose more complex carbs, like whole grains or vegetables, which release energy steadily over time and help keep your blood sugar on an even keel. When I decided to just cut out carbs entirely for a while, I found myself feeling cranky and tired, and my workouts suffered big time. Once I returned to a more balanced approach, I noticed my energy improved. Cutting down on processed carbs can be useful. Sugary cereals or pastries might not fuel your workouts the way you want, but demonizing an entire macronutrient category isn't the way to go. So don't be scared of carbs, just choose them wisely. Now, moving along, we've got the classic running is terrible for your knees claim that many of us have heard from well-meaning relatives or even some health professionals. Yes, running can be high impact, but the context matters. If you go from zero activity to sprinting 10 miles a day on the sidewalk, your knees might not be thrilled, totally understandable. But if you slowly build up mileage, invest in proper footwear, and perhaps mix your running with strength training for the muscles around your joints, running can be a fantastic part of your fitness routine. Some research even suggests that recreational running may actually improve joint health by strengthening the supportive tissues around the knee. It's all about moderation and proper technique. Really like lacing up my running shoes and heading out to clear my mind. It's so refreshing. But I also balance it with lower impact exercises and mobility work to protect those knees in the long run. Speaking of misconceptions, let's talk about that no pain, no gain slogan that's been around forever. Sure, pushing yourself can be beneficial. You want to challenge your body so it adapts and grows stronger. But there's a difference between feeling the burn of hard work and being in actual pain that indicates an injury. When you're working out, a certain level of discomfort might be okay. It could simply be your muscles working in new ways. But sharp shooting pains or persistent aches that linger for days can be a sign you're overdoing it, risking strain or worse. There's no badge of honor for ignoring potential injuries. If something doesn't feel right, it's smart to rest. Adjust your form or seek professional advice. Trust me, as someone who once tried to tough it out through shin splints, I learned that lesson the hard way. A little rest can go a long way in helping you avoid more serious problems down the road. Now, I want to segue into a pretty popular myth concerning the weight room, that light weights can't build muscle. Often there's this idea that you have to lift super heavy, grunt like a bear, and down a gallon of protein shake to build any noticeable muscle. While progressive overload, meaning you gradually increase the weight or resistance over time, is indeed crucial for muscle growth, it's not the only method. You can make significant gains with lighter weights if you're training to near fatigue and challenging your muscles appropriately. Higher reps with lighter weights can still offer muscle-building benefits, especially if you maintain good form and keep tension on the muscle. Of course, you might have to do more reps or shorten your rest periods to stimulate growth, but don't dismiss lighter weights just because you see some intense bodybuilder cranking out monstrous lifts. Everyone's goals are different, and there's more than one path to improved strength and muscle tone. I absolutely love switching up my routine. Sometimes I go heavy, but other times, focusing on lighter weights and higher reps gives me a fantastic burn. By the way, if you're enjoying this deep dive into fitness truths and misconceptions, go ahead and give this video a like. It really helps out, and it lets me know you guys appreciate these kinds of discussions. Plus, hitting that like button makes sure more people get to see this content. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. Let's keep going because there's another misconception we can't forget, that you can spot reduce fat in specific areas, like the arms or thighs, by doing targeted exercises. This ties in a bit with the first myth about crunches, but it applies to every part of the body. I used to think if I just did enough tricep exercises, I'd eliminate that jiggly feeling in the back of my arms. But guess what? My body didn't get the memo. While muscle-specific exercises are fantastic for building strength and definition, they don't necessarily torch fat specifically in the area you're targeting. Fat loss, as mentioned earlier, occurs more systemically, so the best approach if you're trying to lose weight or tone up is a combination of cardiovascular exercise, strength training, and balanced nutrition, alongside, of course, enough rest and stress management. If you stay consistent, your entire body composition will shift, and you'll start to see changes all around, rather than just in one spot. Patience is key, guys. It's not glamorous, but it's reality, and that's what we want. Real results rather than quick fixes that don't work. Now let's circle back to garlic for a moment, because I feel like it perfectly represents how some people latch onto a single miracle ingredient or workout method, hoping it's going to fix all their issues. Like I said earlier, garlic is wonderful. It's got those anti-inflammatory properties, can help lower blood pressure, and adds incredible flavor to so many dishes. But just like with every other facet of fitness and health, it's all about balance. You can incorporate garlic into a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and protein sources, and it may contribute to better overall health, which, in turn, can support your fitness goals. But believing that sprinkling a bit of garlic into your soup is going to make you lose 10 pounds by the end of the week is a stretch, right? It's not about any single food, but about the collective effort of everything you eat and do. When you pair smart nutrition with regular activity, hydration, and the occasional rest day, that's when the magic really happens. And let's not forget it can make your meals taste awesome, which is a big deal if you want to stay consistent. I mean, if you enjoy the flavors you're cooking with, you're less likely to feel deprived or bored with your meals. At this point, we've touched on quite a few myths. We've debunked the idea that crunches alone burn belly fat, clarified that sweating more isn't necessarily the same as burning more fat, discovered that carbs aren't the enemy, learned that running can be perfectly fine for your knees if done correctly, reminded ourselves that no pain, no gain is often misused, tackled the debate about whether light weights can build muscle, and reaffirmed that spot reduction is pretty much a myth. All of these misconceptions can hold us back if we believe in them blindly. It's so easy to be swayed by something you read online or hear from a friend who heard it from someone else, especially if it promises quick fixes or effortless results. But I want to emphasize that a sustainable fitness journey usually involves a lot of learning, experimenting, and adjusting to see what truly works for your body and lifestyle. If you're listening right now and feeling like, okay, but how do I put all this into practice? My best suggestion is to start small, stay consistent, and focus on a holistic approach. Don't rely on just one exercise or demonize one food group. Instead, aim for balance. Make sure you're challenging yourself in the gym or at home if that's where you work out, fueling your body with nutrient-dense foods, including some flavorful garlic if you want, staying hydrated, and giving yourself enough rest to recover. Above all, keep educating yourself, because the more informed you are, the less likely you'll fall for these myths in the future. Now, if you've made it this far and you're feeling motivated to take action, I have one more request. If you're new here, or if you haven't had a chance yet, please consider hitting that notification bell. This way, you'll know exactly when I drop a new video, so you won't miss out on more tips, conversations, and myth-busting sessions like this. We're building a great community here, and I'd love for you to be part of it. So let's do a quick recap of what we've learned today and why it matters. We opened with that classic conflict between old-school beliefs and modern science, pointing out that a lot of common knowledge around fitness is more fiction than fact. Then we discussed how garlic fits into the equation, showing that while certain foods can be extremely beneficial, expecting miraculous changes from any one ingredient or supplement is rarely realistic. The bottom line here is that fitness success rarely comes from chasing shortcuts or falling for flashy headlines. Instead, it's about understanding how the body really works and making choices that align with your personal goals and needs. Carbs aren't your enemy. Sweating buckets doesn't guarantee fat burning, and it's okay to incorporate running into your routine. Your knees will thank you if you do it smartly. Lifting lighter weights can still help build muscle if you apply the right training techniques. And while I'm with you on wanting to sculpt specific areas, we have to remember that spot reduction just doesn't work the way we might hope. That's not to say we can't build and shape our bodies. It's simply that the strategy involves a balanced, whole-body approach rather than zeroing in on one trouble spot. And if you're anything like me, you'll find that weaving a variety of workouts and good nutritional choices into your daily life is far more rewarding and a lot more fun than sticking to a rigid, boring plan. I'd love for you guys to share your own experiences in the comments. Have you ever fallen for one of these myths? Or maybe a different one? How did you find out the truth, and did it change the way you train or eat? Let me know, because those personal stories are so valuable for everyone watching, myself included. We learn a lot by swapping tales of what's worked and what's not. And if you have any questions about the myths we covered or about incorporating garlic into your diet, maybe you have a favorite garlic recipe you swear by, I'd love to hear that too. Seriously, the comment section can be a goldmine of tips, so don't be shy. As we wrap up, remember that there's always more to uncover. Fitness is an ongoing journey of trial, error, success, and growth. And the best part is that we get to learn together. Next time you see someone pushing one of these tired old myths, like no pain, no gain, or carbs will destroy your progress, hopefully you'll feel confident setting the record straight. After all, the more we know, the better decisions we can make to stay strong, stay healthy, and stay happy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep taking steps toward a life that's truly fit for you. Before you click away, I want to leave you with one final thought. Which piece of fitness advice has helped you the most on your journey, and which one turned out to be completely off base? Share below. Let's keep this conversation going. I can't wait to read your responses, and I'll see you in the next video.